Hi, I'm author Stacy McAnulty, and I wanted to share something with you today. I made a mistake in this book, and I want to tell you how it happened. So this book was my debut novel, my first novel, and it's about Lucy, who is a math genius. When she was in second grade, she was struck by lightning, and when she recovers from this, she is an acquired savant in math. She can add, subtract, multiply, and divide faster than we would do it on a calculator. She remembers every number she sees and hears. Because she's got this amazing math genius brain, her grandmother homeschools her for 4 years, and the book really begins when she is 12, and she's done enough by homeschool standards, and she's got a genius math brain. She could go off to college, but her grandmother thinks about this and says, no, I'm not sending a 12-year-old off to college. I'm going to send her someplace much worse. I'm going to send her to public middle school. So Lucy heads off to middle school for the first time. Now, Lucy, being a math genius, she sees the world differently than perhaps you and I do. So when she comes across the number 7, it's never S-E-V-E-E-N. It's going to be the digit 7. So in the book, I use digits instead of writing out numbers. I think it gets us closer to the way Lucy would see things and think of things. So that's consistent throughout the book. But here's what happened. So this book debuted in May of 2018. We finished up the book a couple months early. So in January of 2018, my editor Caroline and I were done editing the book. We had gone through it many times, more than we could count. And we had done that final pass where we thought everything was perfect. Well, our spelling and the consistency, the timeline, we're like, this is it. It is ready to be printed. So we celebrated a little. Yay, we're sending my first novel off to be printed. And this was a Monday. And what happened that night kind of changed my family. So I'm the mom of 3 human kids, and at that time 3 furry kids, Jack, a Munchkin, and Pepper. That night I was letting my furry kids out in the backyard to do their business, and Jack and Munchkin went, but Pepper did not want to go out. Now, it was a little bit of freezing rain, so I didn't blame her for not wanting to go out in that, so she stayed inside with me, and I started making dinner. Well, as I'm chopping something up, all of a sudden I hear this loud thud, and I run into the living room, and I see Pepper knocked over and having a major seizure. Her whole body is vibrating uncontrollably on the floor. I run up to her, try to calm her, but she's really out of it. She eventually calms down, she stills, but then a couple minutes later, it happens again. And then it repeats again and again over an hour. We call the emergency vet. They're like, yeah, bring her in. This should not be happening repeatedly. So my husband and I wrap her in a blanket and we drive her to the emergency vet. They put her in a kennel on the floor, and I'm sitting next to her, and the vet's not super worried. They're like, dogs can have seizures, they can live with seizures, they take some medicine, she'll be okay. And this made me feel better. So they're like, the vet's like, let her stay here overnight, we'll watch her. I'm like, okay. Now at this point, I could tell Pepper was blind. She had a glassy eye look. And she couldn't focus on me, and she couldn't stand up, and she couldn't walk. So she's laying in this kennel, and the door's open, and I tell her goodbye. I'm like, Pepper, Mom's got to go home. You're going to be okay. They're going to take care of you, and I'll be back. Okay? You be a good girl. You be a good girl. I'll be back. And she tries to crawl to me. She tries to crawl out of this kennel to come home with me. She didn't want to be left alone there, but we had to. She was sick, so we leave and we go home. The next day I get a couple calls from the vet. She's not doing much better. She's still not standing. She's not eating. She's blind. They're doing more tests. They're calling doggy neurologist, which is like a brain doctor. And we're still not sure what's going on. But the vet's like, let's give it another day. Come in Wednesday and we'll talk and we'll see what we can do. So, I go to bed that night, and early the next morning I get a phone call, and Pepper's had another major seizure, and this time with a heart attack, and they cannot resuscitate her. She dies. She's gone. And that was really hard because we weren't there, and I said I was going to be there, and I never got to see her again, which hurts a little bit, but I know she was with people that were taking care of her. But if you have a dog in your family, you know how much it means and to be with them and how much they mean to you. So Pepper Pepper passes away, and we go in to see her body, and say a final goodbye, and they give us her collar and her tag to keep. And this is, I keep this in my office, so she was always here with me, even now. And I go back home, and I can't do much work. I'm very, very upset, and the kids are upset, and I even think the other dogs could tell. And I start thinking suddenly, as I'm sitting on the couch, I start thinking about the book. And that's because in the back of the book I have acknowledgments. And the acknowledgments, like in any book, it's a list of the people that have helped make it a great book and have helped me as a writer, and people that mean a lot to me. And it, of course, for me, includes my dogs. So in there, I had mentioned Jack and Pepper and Munchkin in the acknowledgments. But now that was wrong, because the way I referred to them, they were alive, and I wanted to change it. I wanted it to say this. So again, the book was ready to be printed though, so I had to call up, had to email my editor Caroline, like, Caroline, can we stop the book from being printed? I need to make a change. And Caroline is like, of course we can change it. So I asked her to change the the nice things about the dogs to say this. It says, in memory of Pepper, for nearly 9 years she was my office mate and furry baby. And it's true. For nearly 9 years, she was my office mate and furry baby, my soulmate of dogs. But here I was in such a hurry, and I was so sad that I didn't write 9 as a digit. I wrote Nine. And it's the only place in the book where we write out a digit. And that's because I was very sad, and we did it very quickly. We did it after the copy editors had looked at the whole book, but I needed it in there. I needed it in memory of Pepper. So that's why there's that one small mistake in the book, and how it came to be. It's because I lost my dog very suddenly, and I wanted her to forever be remembered in my first novel. Now, if you've read this book or my other books, The World Ends in April, and then I've got another one coming out, Millionaires for the Month, they all have dogs in them, because I'm a dog mom. I love dogs. I grew up with dogs, and I will always have dogs. Now, sometimes in these books, the dogs are in peril. They're in trouble. And I think that's just, some people hate that. Some people, never want anything bad to happen to dogs. And I don't want anything to happen bad to dogs either. But I know what it's like to live through that when you do lose a dog, or when you might lose a dog, or a dog is missing. All those things, and they weigh on your heart. And so many kids go through that. And I just want to capture that in my fiction. So now I am the mom of 3 dogs again. Still have Jack and still have Munchkin, and now we have adopted Rika, who's another German Shepherd. She's about 2 years old. And I'm working right now on getting a 4th dog. We'll see if that works out, because my heart is big enough for lots and lots of dogs. So that's just a quick story I wanted to share with you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for reading my books. And if you are a dog-loving family too, take some time today to give your dog an extra squeeze, and just so they know how much they mean to us. Thanks, guys.